There are mornings like that. You wake up, you tell yourself you're going to have a good day, and in the end, it's shit in all caps, bold, italic, underlined. Pick whatever font you want, go wild. Today's problem is hiding in this closet. You get up this morning, have breakfast, get ready, everything's fine, the little birds are singing. I'm vacuuming the hallway, and when I get to the closet, the sliding doors, the track, there's water. If there's water on the floor and you're in your walk-in shower, it's fine. If you're not in the shower, it's a problem. That's what's bothering me. So in the past, it's already caused us problems. This is the second time now, on top of the problems we've already had, that it's leaking from the top. You see, I have water, really at the water heater. Nothing to do with the installation, the copper or the fittings. It's really at the water heater itself. This is the second leak, plus other issues we've had with this water heater, so I'm done. I'm replacing it. Also, it's poorly positioned, which is another reason for the change. This water heater, they installed it in front of the manifolds. We've been in this house for about 10 years. The house is maybe 12 or 13 years old, I don't remember. So the previous owner stayed here for 2 or 3 years. He was the one who did the work, and he put it right in front of the manifolds. I always thought it was completely stupid to do that. Because if I need to close a valve, for example the one for the water heater, I have to reach my hand between the water heater and the manifold. I have to twist like a contortionist with pliers because I don't close the valves every morning, so they get stuck. Using pliers on a butterfly valve is super convenient. Another reason it's poorly placed is that behind this partition is an in-wall toilet frame and a toilet. If I ever need to do work, it's easier to access from the closet side by opening the drywall rather than breaking everything on the toilet side. I would certainly be behind the frame, but I would have access to the frame. I just need to open it wider and reach my hands through the front. The water went over the top. It made the melamine swell at the base. They're just melamine shelves. It's not a big deal. I'll remove them. I'll salvage what I can, and the new closet will go on the other side above the manifolds. If one day I need to work on my support frame, I just remove the screws, the battens with the screws. I take them out and I can access my support frame. So the water heater, we're taking it out. We're going to put a new water heater on this side, extra flat. Why extra flat? Why 80 liters? I'll explain everything in a moment. We're also going to open up the plasterboard because there's a partition here. We'll add reinforcements, put the plasterboard back, and then we'll be able to mount the water heater directly onto the reinforcement. Okay, so there are several steps in this video, but they're necessary steps because if you're going to do some work, you might as well do things right. I'll take the camera and film from above so you can see the masterpiece with the water and the fitting that's completely corroded. So here's the fitting in question. It's completely corroded and rusted. I could scrape it with a screwdriver. So it was leaking here, not much, but enough to make the level rise. It overflows, spreading onto the floor. Well, like I told you, the melamine is done for. It's not a big deal. We'll take everything apart, cut it, and salvage what we can. And it's just melamine, it's not the end of the world. If anyone wants the fitting, I'll give it as a gift. I'll cut around it and mail it to you. Not sure if it's useful, but you could make a keychain from it. So the goal here is to cut all this, like I said, to take it apart, to remove the water heater, and we'll have to drain it. Go through the safety valve. You see, it's a 300 liter one. So I'm going to cut the power. Very important, we cut the power. We close the valve. You'll see the manifolds better in a moment. If you don't have a valve at the manifold for the tank, you shut off the main valve or the valve that's on the safety valve assembly. We turn it, you see water comes out. I started draining it, to be honest with you. And then we keep turning it all the way. We hear a click and it will lock. And the water keeps coming out. If I close it, it stops coming out. Okay? So I keep draining it, and then at the same time, I'll take all this apart, then we disconnect it and take out the water heater. So now there's no more cabinet. I've unscrewed everything. The water heater is disconnected. Electrically, hot water and cold water. I removed the pressure regulator. I'm keeping it. I put it here since I'm going to use it. The safety valve assembly, there's no point in keeping it. It goes with the water heater. This irrigation system annoys me most because I don't use it. I'd remove it, but I'm keeping it just in case. And like I was saying, between the water heater and the manifold, you see how little space there is. It's not great. Trying to shut off a valve is a real hassle. So now the task is to take out the water heater, then locate the studs, cut the drywall, put in a reinforcement, put the drywall back, and then I can hang the new water heater. Well, working in a closet with the step stool and the tools isn't ideal, but we manage, and that's what matters. The saw, well, it's not really a saw, it's a drywall router. Hilti SKO6 A22 22-volt battery. So, the router bit, you can call it whatever you want, it's a specific one. I hooked up the vacuum to it, and as you saw, zero dust. That was the goal. I'm in a hallway, there are rooms, I don't want dust flying everywhere. I could have used a keyhole saw, a reciprocating saw, but here, the goal isn't to cut the studs, let alone the conduits. I set it just to the thickness of the drywall, and I cut the drywall. It didn't touch the studs or the conduits. Then, holes with a hole saw, and you pull on it, and it comes off. And zero dust, that's really the main advantage. You have the link in the description. This machine isn't that expensive. The Hilti SKO6 A22. Okay, that's it for the machine. I'll put it down and I'll show you what I did today. I'm showing it to you from every angle, you see? There are grooves everywhere. So I'm not going to do it again for you. A full tutorial on how to add backing for drywall, I've already done it. You have the link in the description or a card that will appear at the top. So basically, why did I do it this way? You see, there are two layers. So this one is non-slip plywood. It's the one I used to make my truck ramp, which I still haven't posted, I know. These are the scraps. So 18 millimeters thick times 2, that's 36. So why times 2? Because the thicker your reinforcement is, the better. Except here, I have a conduit that's in my way. Actually, I have two. So I'll take this opportunity to show you that I've marked everything you see along the studs. Because the goal is to put in the wooden reinforcements to bring it back to drywall thickness with a reinforced panel from Signet. I'll talk more about it in a moment. And once that's filled in, meaning the gap from the drywall that I cut out, I put another drywall panel on top attached to all the studs. So I marked the studs all the way up to the ceiling because once I set the laser on the floor, I'll be glad to find my lines for screwing in. This part here goes into the stud, this part here that's been notched out. So I did this with a table saw, but you can do it with a circular saw. It works very well. It's for the conduit that's here, so it gets wedged behind and doesn't move anymore. And then this part here, because I can't pass the reinforcement through in one go, it would need to be flexible and return to its shape so it can fit into the studs on both sides. I'm going to add a plywood board that I'll fit in and fold over on top with 2 screws. The fiberglass makes me cough. 2 screws that will go into this part. You see? If I drill here, I'll hit the conduit, which isn't good. So here, the wooden reinforcement fits into the studs, the little piece that fills in there. Anyway, my mounting for the water heater goes here in this part. That's why I put 18 mm X2 across this whole width, so I have the best possible grip. As I said, we fill it in, reattach the plasterboard to the double studs, and we're set. I'll discuss it with you shortly. It's a reinforced board, as I mentioned. Okay, the boards are installed. I say boards because there's a big one and a small one that goes here. The joint will be here and the water heater goes here. I wanted to finish plastering and painting before installing the water heater, but we're short on time. I'll install it and paint around it. It's fine. We'll cover the screw heads with joint compound and add joint tape. So in the corners, I'm not going to bother with joint tape and plaster. MS polymer sealant, it's strong, it doesn't crack, and it can be painted. That will work perfectly. It's just a closet. There's something you can't see that's under the camera. You'll film me later. I installed, so it's plywood that I cut to make a support. The panel is placed on top and screwed in. Should I remove it or leave it? It doesn't bother me. Once painted white, it won't be noticeable. And it adds extra strength if the panel drops. Normally, it shouldn't drop with all the screws I put in. Plus, each time I anchored it into the double studs. So this panel is the Signet Solid Rock. You have the link in the description. This panel is very hard and it's also acoustic resistant, heavy duty and highly moisture resistant. You see everything is written here. And Signet, you have the logo here. So high moisture resistance doesn't mean waterproof. It just means moisture resistant. To make it waterproof, apply a waterproofing membrane or a similar product. Any will work, but waterproofing is required. The plasterboard link is in the description for details. It's a multifunctional panel. It's more expensive, but honestly, it's great. It's great because if you hit it, it doesn't leave a mark. And it's very strong. I can make a hole and put in a wall anchor. It can hold up to 200 kg. With the plywood reinforcement I added, like I said, you could put an elephant on it and it wouldn't collapse, which is exactly what I wanted. I really wanted that because right now I'm putting an 80-liter tank. But let's say in a year or two, I decide to use the tank for something else and replace it with an even bigger one. I'll be glad to have my reinforcement behind it. I can attach something else to it and put something even heavier on it, so it's better to be safe than sorry. If I just put up drywall and hang something on it, it'll rip right out. I'll have to start over. I'll talk to you about the boards soon. I'm working at home, converting a laundry room into a bathroom. We're installing this board, but you need to use a specific screw with unique threading. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly, and I'm trying to turn it different ways. With the specific threading, it's still a Phillips head. The head is countersunk so it fits in properly. If you use a regular screw, it won't work. You really need this type of screw. Whether it's Signet or another brand, it'll be the same. I'll talk to you about the screws as well. It's from Hilti, you see, in strips on the drywall screwdriver. The SD5000, I recommend it to you. It's truly amazing. I was thinking about it while I was screwing. I was thinking actually, I've never recharged the battery since I started using it. At the same time, it's not an energy-hungry machine, but still 22 volts, so it's great. You screw, well, you press. And it screws automatically, even with specific screws. So, Hilti SD5000 the charger, all the links are in the description. One last thing, after we hang the water heater, I can explain it better. Holding it with one arm just isn't practical. If I get down to the ground and in its box, I'll have to bend over and talk to you like this. That's not great. These are the mounts for the water heater. It's standard stuff. And we're going to use hinge screws. Or is it called hinge screws? I never know how to say it, but it doesn't matter. So Torx head, we put it in the bracket like this. I pre-drill with a 3mm bit straight through the drywall, the plywood, and then I can screw it in. Here it's a 7x70 and now I'm good. It's going to hold. By the way, I don't know if you should be able to see the marks. I marked where to drill, attached my brackets to the water heater, and I'll explain more. Seeing an empty cupboard makes you think, now that the water heater is installed, it's ready for use. I was telling you about the water heater, the crimping, the fittings, why the valves, and especially why there's more work to do. So, on the ground floor, I have another bathroom to build. We'll demolish the laundry room, remove partitions, and build a new bathroom with its own water heater. So I'll have two identical water heaters. As this one, I'll also have other partitions to break, move the water supply that's in this closet, move the manifolds, bring them either into the laundry room or into the garage. And then we'll move on to the upper floor. I have to modify the floor and the framing, so it's major work. I need to add a small bathroom, a toilet to install, and I would also like to create a utility room for this water heater, which will supply the small bathroom upstairs and the bathroom on the ground floor. So the goal is to move this water heater when the other bathroom upstairs is finished, to reroute the water lines. I can reuse the toilet drain lines, so that's perfect. And I'll also completely reclaim the closet space. No more water supply, no more manifold, nothing left. And we'll be able to fully set up this closet with shelves. So next, I'll move the water supply to the laundry room or the garage. I haven't decided yet. I'll redistribute the water supply according to the new rooms with the right diameter. For the second water heater in the ground floor bathroom, I'll also supply the kitchen sinks. Since that bathroom will be used less, it will help balance hot water use. So in the end, I end up with two bathrooms, a small bathroom upstairs, and two water heaters. The advantage is that when we have guests, there's no rush for the bathrooms. Everyone has their own water heater. The other benefit is if one breaks down, I still have the other. If both break down, I'll have to get the curse removed and see a spiritual healer. So the water heater, I stood in front of the brand, it's Ariston. I cut out the cardboard. Look here, Ariston, the model Velis Evo Dry Wi-Fi 80. Here's the Ariston brand again, the link's in the description. So, it's an 80-litre ultra-flat electric water heater. So it's equivalent to a classic 200-litre tank. It's exactly the same as the one I had before, except mine was a 300-litre. But imagine a classic 200-litre tank, well, you can replace it with an ultra-flat 80-litre water heater. So, this water heater comes in three models: 45 litres, 65 litres, and 80 litres. The 45-litre model is made for one person, the 65-litre for two people, and the 80-litre is made for three people, or even 4 showers. They all have the same depth and width, only the height differs depending on the model. In depth, it's 27.5 cm in width, 50.5 cm in height. For the 45-litre model, it's 77 cm. For the 65-litre, it's 1 meter. And for the 80-litre this model, it's 1.25 meters. So this one is the model with Wi-Fi. We're going to install a second one in the downstairs bathroom, which won't have Wi-Fi. However, you can control the output temperature directly on the touch screen. And on this one, of course, I can control it via the mobile app. So, they don't need a thermostatic limiter. There's no need to add one under the water heater. They already have a built-in thermostat. So, in terms of safety, you set your output temperature and you won't burn yourself with water coming out at 70 or 75 degrees. So, for the expansion tanks, well, we'll see that during the final installations. Upstairs, technical rooms, water heater, manifold, water supply, and expansion tank. This water heater doesn't need an off-peak timer. It adjusts to your consumption. So what I did is, there was an outlet around here. I took that line out of the electrical junction box, or spider, whatever you call it. It's the large box where all the conduits meet. I took everything out between the outlet and the junction box, and between the junction box and the electric meter. I put in a new junction box. I chose the Velis Ariston Evo 80, and so no day-night switch. Like I told you, it adapts to your consumption. So you connect it to a dedicated circuit. We're coming back to press fitting and then I'll explain why the valves, but I think some of you have already understood. Crimping for me is extremely reliable. Why would I bother with a blowtorch that costs a lot? Honestly, the price of a blowtorch, a good one, is the same as a press tool. With press fitting, I don't need any flames. Pas besoin de gaz, donc niveau sécurité. I'm at ease. I don't need a hot work permit. I don't need any filler metal. I don't need any flux. I don't need any heat shields. Sure, you need jaws, but I'll buy the jaw once and I'm good for years. So press fitting is not only reliable, it's super fast. It's been around for years. If it wasn't reliable, people would have known a long time ago. Now I know what some people are going to say. Why didn't you bend it? You could have done it. Here, the goal was to hurry up, to install the water heater and not make things complicated because, as I told you, it's a temporary installation. But I still wanted it to be at least somewhat neat. So, the machine I used, I've already shown you. It's the ET NPR 19A. You have the link in the description. You can use any type of jaw depending on the material you want to work with. At ET, they have all the jaws, galvanized, stainless steel, copper, PEX, multi-layer. Here, I'm using a copper jaw with a V profile. So we're not just winging it. I'll try to find the chart that links to ET's website about the jaws, so that link will be in the description. I invite you to check it out. Same goes for the press tool. 22 volt battery, 5 amp, 3 amp. You can use whichever battery you want. It's not a power hungry machine. Let me know in the comments if you prefer press fitting or soldering, because whenever I talk to someone, they all go for crimping. But in the comments, it's often people saying that press fitting is useless, it's too expensive. Once again, a good blowtorch costs as much as a press tool. So, it's really something to think about. Alright, I'll film a bit of the installation for you, then we'll talk about the app, and I'll film the control panel for you. So, you understand the goal is to remove everything, maximize space, reroute the water supply, and provide water to the new rooms for the water heaters. I'm keeping the electrical line with the circuit breaker and the off-peak relay. I have a new line here. The pressure reducer and the crimping are extremely reliable. Both the temporary and permanent installation have no leaks. Was it really worth the trouble to make bends? Here, I just cut my lengths, fitted them together, crimped, and that's it. I'm closing the valves. This valve supplies the cold water. I still have cold water at my manifolds. 2 packages on the floor because right now all of this is in my way. We go back up to the safety valve assembly, a valve, and the water heater. Now it's forbidden to put a valve between the safety valve assembly and the water heater. I'm supposed to connect it directly. What's interesting is why it's forbidden and why I do it. So, it's forbidden because it's supposed to be connected directly to regulate and maintain the pressure. If I close the valve for too long, it doesn't do its job anymore. So you connect it directly? So, why did I do it? Well, simply because I'll be able to recover the 80 liters of water from the water heater by closing this valve. I connect a garden hose that will run along the ground and go directly into my rainwater tank. So I'll recover the 80 liters of water that are in the water heater. Okay, otherwise I could have used the safety valve assembly with the nice hose that goes there. Well, that's just temporary. And fill buckets. Do I really want to bother filling buckets when I can just connect a garden hose? But again, you shouldn't do this. It's not recommended. It's forbidden. Okay? The safety valve assembly is here. You have the link in the description, the fastenings, and the instructions. The app, this is what it looks like. You'll have the link. You can test it in guest mode. You can adjust the temperature. 1 shower, there you go. You see on the dashboard, it's just a single shower. I'm back. There you go. We're putting all the showers back. And it's coming back. Okay? Night mode. Programming mode. Manual mode. You, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you program this however you want according to the schedule. The energy consumption. The app is extremely comprehensive. Once again, you'll find the link in the description. I invite you to try it out in guest mode. And then the dashboard is the same thing. You can adjust the temperature. You press mode. Here I can remove all the showers. You only set it to 2, 3 or 4. I confirm. You press mode again. Night mode, programming mode, manual mode, eco mode, and of course Wi-Fi. The label for Wi-Fi, the app is this one. Aristonet. Horizontal, vertical, in whichever direction you want. The water heater is installed and we have hot water. You'll see it again soon when it's moved upstairs to its own room. I'll also install a second one on the ground floor. It will be identical, except without the Wi-Fi version. Once work on the ground floor is done, it will be moved upstairs. Let me know in the comments what kind of extra flat water heater you have, or if you have a traditional tank water heater, and what you think about extra flat water heaters. But honestly, for me, the space saving is huge. Plus, it works really well. But well, that will have to be judged over several months. So I'll talk to you about it again when I finish the work, for example. I'll tell you what I thought about it since I'll be using it for at least a year. So it'll be a good opportunity to do a review. So we'll meet again in a few videos, in about 3 or 4 videos to start the work in this house. In the meantime, I have other video topics to share with you. This video is now over. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And in the meantime, take care. See you in the next video.